Good evening, more, and welcome. Tonight we're going to be venturing into the depths of the woods because there are cabins here waiting for our arrival. I hope you're ready because it's time to get comfortable and let the darkness take control. Around 8 years ago, me and some friends used to spend our weekends spelunking and exploring abandoned places at night. We didn't vandalize or anything, we would just go to take cool pictures and spook each other around. There is an old abandoned rock quarry in our county that loads of teenagers go to throw parties and get drunk. I had never been down there before, but my friends had been there, and they were a few years older than me, and they had partied down there before. There is this huge hill that you have to park your vehicle at the top of and then cross the gate and walk down the hill to reach the quarry. And in the middle of that land, outside of the actual, there is just a huge pile of rocks. Quarry caves. Lots of old equipment have broken down bulldozers. We ventured into the quarry cave probably 200 feet and took some pictures and went back outside. There was standing water inside, and we wanted to be as safe as possible, not knowing how sturdy the ceiling was or how deep the water was coming outside. We kept hearing some really strange animal noises. We live in rural Kentucky, so we see bobcats, mountain lions, and bears a lot, but usually deep in the woods, which we weren't in at the time. We usually always carried a machete for tearing weeds down and just general safety. We're standing outside of the quarry cave and we're hearing this weird growling, not like a bear or a dog, not like anything we had ever heard before. We had flashlights and we shined them around, looking on the hills surrounding us, and found these huge greenish reddish eyes staring at us. We all looked at each other like, what the hell is that? Whatever it was standing at least 9 feet tall, but it was standing like a human, not like a bear. When it was huge, we could see fur. When its head was huge, its eyes were a good foot or two apart, and we kept standing there looking at it, honestly in shock. We started walking fast up the hill, and it was following us along the hill line. We finally made it to the gate, and when we turned around, it was standing around 30 feet away from us. What we saw wasn't a bear. I've seen black bears around my house plenty of times. We still talk about it to this day. I still believe it was a Bigfoot. My friends think it was. I've looked up information about the descriptions of other people's sightings, and Nas sounds very similar to others, especially the eyes. Some friends and I were going to go hiking on the weekend. We'd usually do this and bring some other friends with us and would try to find new places to go. Often near my town there's a small inactive volcano which has a cavern system, and for a while now another friend and I have been trying to map the thing out. While I went up with my mates in September, we got inside the main cave, which is about a mile long up until a point where you can't go any further without spelunking gear in, as God knows how deep, and I was leading the group as I'd been there the most because it was a leisure trip. We were going to have a good time, joking, having fun, the usual stuff. In that spirit, I thought it would be funny to put some ambient to the activity and played some aghast, an atmospheric black metal band that supposedly used summoning rituals in their recordings. To be honest, I've never believed that to be more than just a gimmick, because 90s black metal, still taking into consideration everything.
It may add some truth. Everything was normal. The music played out from my Bluetooth speaker, and we did the whole tour. And on the way back, I was leading the group out, and the last bloke in the line asked us to lend him our torches so he could snap a group picture. We just turned 180 and dead so posing, and kept hiking. We got out, we got home, and called it a day. And this is where stuff gets interesting. Normally, after a long hike, I tend to sleep really soundly when I arrive home, but that night I kept feeling uneasy, like something bad was gonna happen. I didn't sleep much the next day. One of my mates posted a picture when we noticed that indeed something was next to me in one of the pictures, so I guess that was the reason that when I got on that night, I swear I could see the thing for glimpses, with its pale face and pitch black eyes just staring at me like it was sizing me up for something. When I went to bed, I wanted to crap myself. I could see it standing by the door, getting closer to me at some point, I just started cursing at it, telling it that if it wanted to go down in my own home, I would put up a damn fight, and surprisingly, that thing looked puzzled at that, like an actor that doesn't know how to follow with another actor ad-libs something. I kept at that, and it just left. This thing didn't surrender, though. Just for a couple of weeks, it started throwing pebbles at my window and making strange noises. But little by little, it just stopped, as if it got bored. My two friends and I were hiking in a national park. We decided to hike the trail, which had much less traffic, and arrived early in the morning. My friends and I did smoked a little bit of the green stuff, but were not high out of our minds. We were talking about peyote and its psychoactive substance mescaline when an older man dressed in shorts, hiking boots, a shirt, sun hat, and with a walking stick overheard us talking about this, and decided to get up from the rock he was sitting on to join us on the rest of our hike. We arrived at the entrance of the cave. The older man stayed back while my friend and I explored it. It was pretty narrow, but opened into somewhat of a belly room, one way in, one way out. We went back and said hello to the gentleman, and he said he'd like to take a look too. We told him we would wait for him at the entrance. Mind you, this cave was not deep at all, and we were in there for a total of 5 minutes. After waiting for him for 15 minutes, we decided to go grab him. When we got into the cave, he was gone. The only thing left was his walking stick sitting in the center of the cave. We called his name and even climbed up into a crevice to see if he had somehow gotten stuck. He wasn't there. Creepiest thing I ever experienced. Where I grew up, there were a few storm drains that all went to the same pond. My friend Amanda and I were messing around in the woods near one of the openings, and we could hear this really sharp echoing cry that made us both nervous. We thought it was the wind at first, and then Amanda threw a rock into the opening and it stopped for a minute. So at this point we figured it must be something alive. We climbed back out of the woods and went to the next pipe, and could hear it there too now, and scared in. Amanda is trying to prove how she isn't afraid of anything, so we go to the next one. This one is quieter, so we are moving in the opposite direction now. I'm being a baby because it's raining a little and I'm not allowed to get my clothes when I was 9 at the time, so I'm begging Amanda to go home as she stops to reassure me we are safe. We hear this awful deep wailing noises, start to panic. I can feel my pulse in my neck and I'm sweating, and Amanda puts her face into the opening of the drain. The noise happens again and Amanda takes off down the hill and into the pipe opening, and now crying because Amanda abandoned me in the rain and there's a monster in the pipes. Amanda starts yelling my name and I have to put my face into the opening to hear her, so now I'm really crying, and she tells me to call the fire department. So I run to the nearest neighbor and tell them to explain. I don't know why we need to call, but Amanda is in the pipe outside their house. They get all snooty because Amanda is the biggest kid in the neighborhood, so they assumed she got stuck. They called the non-emergency number and a truck comes to remove the cover. Turns out Amanda recognized the sound of an angry cat and ran into the pipe. It was a mother cat and her kittens were stuck beneath the wire grate inside the drain, so the rain was drowning them and they were crying. Thanks to Amanda, they got all but one kitten out, and the mama can't make it in time. Before the rain got worse, she got to keep one of the kittens, and no one believed us even though we were both there, and the firemen, no one believed she could fit into the pipe.
Explored with a group of friends. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Parts of this complex are underground. There is nothing left of the buildings save hospital gear, beds, books, files of patients, basically everything. It is the stuff of nightmares, as if a zombie apocalypse, some freak event, and everyone just got up and left. It was operational from 1864 to 1994. The facility was a self-contained unit. That is, the patients worked the land themselves and had all resources on campus the years this was opened. A lot of horror stories came out this place. This wasn't a modern-day psychiatric ward, more like a prison where families paid a lot of money to hide their mentally ill, or the state put undesirables. Now there's an underground network, but was heavily blocked off with chains. However, the main buildings were easily accessible, but the access ways to the underground were blocked off inside as well. Every time we got near one of the underground tunnel systems, we could hear faint music playing. It sounded like a music box. We found a bent wired gate and attempted to file, and the music got louder, and we were all pretty freaked out. We were all promptly arrested before going into the tunnels. There's a lot of speculation about the tunnel to this day. New owner said he was afraid of asbestos and was fearing for our safety. He was a very grim and agreed to drop charges if we never went. We obliged happily. Still, I sometimes think of my interactions. They're all remnants left behind, and gets seriously creeped out. Discovered an entrance to a tunnel that leads to the sewer system during my middle school summer with my friends, and me and my friends started sneaking there to smoke and hang out away from where everyone could find us. And then there was this spot. The relight, it was dry and full of graffiti, so that became our spot. But it was pretty deep in there. One day we saw the writings on the walls, and we knew it was a fresh one since we had never seen it before. We went there again and again without any other incident. One day me and the other two decided to bunk school and went there to relax. We were there for about half an hour, and we had just when we started hearing a faint voice bursting into laughter, followed by other voices bursting into laughter. We could not tell if it was coming from the entrance or the deeper part of the tunnel. We kept quiet. Started hearing the laughter getting louder and more intense. One of my friends quickly went to the nearest manhole cover and started pushing up. My other friend went over to help, and they were able to open it. We crawled out of there onto a busy road and ran for our lives to the nearest apartment complex. We never went back after that. Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed tonight's spine-chilling camping tales. Your support means the world, and I can't wait to bring you more heart-pounding horror stories soon. Stay safe, stay curious, and until next time, keep the campfire burning. Like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe the channel.